In Rental Family, nothing is as simple as it seems. On its surface, the film is a charming exploration of an unusual service. A company that rents out actors to fill the roles of absent family members. Yet, there is more than meets the eye. The question becomes, what happens to human relationships when intimacy and affection are treated like a service you can pay for? The film never decides on what's right or wrong. It only asks the tough questions, forcing the audience to confront the gray area in this age where relationships and intimacy are commerce. Philip Vanderplug, our protagonist, enters this world with good intentions. He approaches his assignments cautiously, following the agency's rules, performing the roles he is hired to embody. But, as he becomes emotionally invested in his clients, elderly man looking for a friend, and the young girl Mia who just wants to meet her father, he begins to feel more than he should, more than he's allowed. Beyond the lie he was paid to sell, the rules of the rental service are clear. Connection is temporary, detachment is mandatory, and affection is a simulation. Yet, Philip's actions show how fragile such boundaries are when human emotion enters the frame. His care is genuine, but ethically complicated, due to the fact that he's providing a service. It's a tug of war between reality and fiction that he just can't escape. This moral complexity is mirrored in the characters around Philip. Shinji, the agency owner, embodies the pragmatic side of morality. He's neither cruel nor villainous. He exists to enforce structure, to prevent harm, to make the world of rented intimacy functional. When Philip breaks the rules, Shinji does not scold him for his selfishness. He reminds him that dependence is dangerous for both client and the worker. The ethical paradox is clear. To care too much is wrong, and yet to care too little is also a mistake. The film simply refuses to simplify this paradox into a conventional moral lesson, leaving the audience to decide for themselves. Rental Family is also a film that examines the ethics of consent. The clients who hire the service also do so voluntarily, yet they cannot fully anticipate the emotional effect of their interactions with the people that they hire. Philip's affection for them is sincere, but he's still bound by a contractual obligation to the job. The film is like a situationship of your deepest emotions in a world that values connection, but only when there are terms and conditions applied. Even the visuals and the sound design of the film reinforce these themes. Long, still shots of Philip sitting silently with a client suggest intimacy, but the frame subtly reminds us of how transactional the nature of this job really is. Minimalist sound design really accentuates the space between the characters, emphasizing the delicate, precarious balance of care that goes into the service. Everyone just wants to do a good job, and in a job with so many emotional guardrails, it takes two to tango. The client and the employee both have to play their roles to effectively sell this fantasy. Ultimately, the moral ambiguity in Rental Family is what makes the film resonate. It doesn't tell you who is right or wrong, it doesn't decide for you. Instead, it positions the audience as observers to this ethical experiment, which asks the audience to confront their own assumptions about connection, care, and the obligation to feel. Walking out of the cinema, no expectations forced on you, but the questions you keep asking yourself and those around you. The power of this story lies precisely in its ambiguity. It challenges us not to judge, but to understand the consequences of our ethical choices alongside its characters. Rental Family is in this sense less of a narrative about rented relationships and more a meditation on the ethics of human intimacy itself. It asks us to consider how much of our care is genuine, how much of our empathy is bound by circumstance, expectation, or obligation, and perhaps the most difficult one, what are we willing to risk when we open ourselves up to another person, even when love cannot last forever? Thank you all for watching. Rental Family is a phenomenal film that you don't want to miss. Please check out our short films and support the channel as we keep chasing cinema. We'll see you in the next one.